This is Paul with LSPDATA. We're focused on niche data to help you close your next off-market deal. This video I wanted to focus a bit on answering some questions that I've been getting from customers recently. And part of it is, again, always make the idea, or when I make these videos, I always like to say that we focus on niche data, right? You have access to all these providers, right? Big vendors like PropStream, ListSource, etc. And obviously they have a big target audience, right? Every YouTube video that you search here regarding real estate, any real estate topic really, you're gonna get PropStream or some influencers or folks that make videos here. And obviously, you know, they're amazing platforms. They serve everyone, right? Even if you're not doing wholesaler, there's a lot of value there. But the main thing is that's not the space that we play in. And I'll clarify here shortly. And again, just be aware that a lot of the content creators here are looking to get affiliate links, right? And that's why those products are pushed. And again, they provide a lot of value, but that's not the space that we play in. And so I wanted to take a step back and kind of talk about what is niche data, right? So for me, when I was doing wholesaling, right, started realizing over time that yes, the commercial products are amazing, but at the same time, there is, having a data background, I realized that, this data is coming from the local county, it's coming from your local city, etc., right? And then later on, as I started digging more on the open data space, I realized that I could focus on that niche data, and that gave me a competitive advantage, right? So I was able to close better deals because I'm reaching out to individuals that have never been reached out, right? Because they weren't part of the absentee owner list, high equity list that everyone pulls in other bigger platforms. And if that works for you, that's amazing, right? If you're targeting everyone, that's great. But when I talk about specific customers that I have, some of them have very specific budget, right? And they want to be more targeted. And that's where they find the most value from us. And the second thing is most experienced investors, right? I'm not talking about those individuals that come from Reddit. You come from a Reddit post where you're trying to make a quick wholesale deal, or just because you watch a TikTok or because you watch your favorite content creator here on YouTube, right? I'm talking about people that are experienced in real estate, so they know where to get the data. And oftentimes, they're the ones that get the most value from our platform. So as they're watching the video, just like you are, they realize that I am talking to folks like them, right? Not to say that, our platforms are everyone, obviously. But what I mean is that they know their markets correctly, right? They know where they're doing business at. They know where to find, the pre-foreclosure, items. They know where to go on their county clerk and what instrument types are, right? Like this list pendant, they go through this process either manually or they pay virtual assistants, right? And basically, this is how they determine and this is how they get ahead, because a lot of the county information and whatnot obviously is going to be as real time as it gets, versus when you're dealing with commercial products, they may take up to 3 or 4 weeks to pull that information in their platforms, right? So anyways, just wanted to sort of give you a bit of context there. And that's why, we're looking for items that are beyond the platforms that you normally use, right? Even platforms that claim to do like virtual driving for dollars, which they're just leveraging Google images, right? And if you look at our videos, obviously I explained how our virtual driving for dollars platform works. And, that's real people taking real pictures, right? And again, because our use cases are around real estate data, we know where to find information that is relevant to real estate, even if that data set is not all relevant to real estate, right? So again, we're trying to make this work for our customers who are in real estate. So I'll give you a quick example too when it comes to our platforms. Again, Harris County and other bigger counties have millions of parcel record information, right? So when you log into a lot of our platform, you may see 51,000 records, right? But what does this mean? Well, it means that we're showing you things that are relevant to real estate, again, that have, let's call it a level of motivation, right? So in this case, a lot of our county data, right? Again, just to take a step back, we focus on county data. Think of pre-foreclosures, tax delinquencies, and whatnot. We also focus on code violations, which, I'll explain here in a little bit. Two separate use cases, right? Two separate pricing models, and you will see why. But for example, in our county ones, we're niching down, right? So instead of showing you millions of records or parcel information, right? Which again, a lot of your favorite platforms do that because they're catering for everyone. For us, we want to help you be more strategic. And maybe if you have, again, a limit on your budget for marketing, right? Or you just want to be more strategic about how you're targeting, potential customers, then this is for you. So again, here, we're showing you everything by default, right? That way you get an idea of, a specific parcel has an assignment affidavit, right? And again, here we'll give you a lot of county related information. So if you're looking for loan modification, if you're looking for list pendant, if you're looking for bankruptcy, etc., right? Think of this as the core of the platform, right? So we're showing you all records that have a county doc type assigned to it, right? Because everything, when you purchase a property, right, obviously you get a deed of trust. When you can't pay mortgage, you can raise a loan modification, right? Or work with your lender, whatever deal, right? So these are life events or events that take place throughout the lifetime of a mortgage, right? And again, some of you are very, you understand what this all means. Like assignment of appointment of trustee means that there will be a pre-foreclosure there, right? So for a lot of those, we just try to make it easy for you. You can select, county foreclosure, hit yes. That number reduces down to 23,000, right? And then from here, you can apply the same logic as you would in other platforms. So you can either, enter when the individual, when they purchase the property, and this gives you an indication of the years of ownership. So again, you're kind of estimating the equity yourself. And again, if you're targeting specific asset classes, right? Obviously, you can just do, for example, if you're doing single family, great. If you want to do the absentee ownership as well, right? Or here, you can do absentee or primary residence. I always like to remind my customers that sometimes you miss out a lot on primary residence, especially when we're talking about code violations and that type of platform, because individuals are not taking the time, or let's say the individual unfortunately passed, right? It's not like it's going to show as an absentee owner, right? And again, here, if you're contacting folks, if you're doing skip tracing or mailers, right? Individual just means that you're contacting an individual person and not an LLC, not a corp, not a church, not a nonprofit, right? So something like this would already bring you down to a pretty healthy list of individuals that you can target, right? And then from there, if you wanted to get a little more context, you could see that for some of them, they've had other problems, right? So let's say this one, there may be a notice of foreclosure. And on top of that, there was some sort of personal injury issue at the civil court. These other ones, you can see that there are some code violations associated to it as well, right? So again, this is more to give you additional indicators on what's happening in that property, right? So let's say if I wanted to sort of filter down further and just focus on properties maybe that had evictions, right? We can search for that. Obviously, the list gets smaller, but all of those have had eviction cases. And again, even some of them have had code violations as well, right? So that's just to give you an idea that, again, this is what we mean by niche, right? So we're trying to help you be more targeted. We could give you all the millions of records, right? But then we wouldn't have any competitive advantage, right, over big other platforms. But I just wanted to kind of show you that, right? Obviously, you can select your zip codes that you're targeting. And it's just as simple as exporting the records right here. At the moment, you can only export 1,500 records at a time. So you just have to click 1,500, wait for it to load, download page 2, another 1,500, right? So we don't limit you on the amount of documents that you can enter, right? And if you want to start again, clear this filter. If you logged in, say 5 days ago, right? The easiest thing to do is, as you can see, today is the 12th, right? So next time you would just come here on the county date and then start from the 12th to today, like in the future, right? So that way you're pulling records that are new. But anyways, I hope that makes a little bit of sense on how our platform works, right? And then if I switch to the code violation ones, similar, right? We're giving you all of the records to start off with. And then from there, you can kind of, reduce that amount, right? Again, I made other videos on how to best use the platform, but just to give you a quick reminder, on this one, you can either enter any specific description that you would visually see on a property that you think has code violations, just like you would for virtual drive for dollars or driving for dollars in general. So let's say you wanted to search for a property that's vacant, right? So this here, it will give you an indication that, the corner lot is vacant, vacant lot, vacant home, right? And again, because if you're just pulling violations at a high level, a water leak wouldn't necessarily indicate that the house is vacant, right? But by us giving you this description, it contextualizes what's happening, what is the issue in the property, right? So if you get a hold of the owner, and let's say the owner lives in a different state, well, you know that there's an issue, there's probably water damage and whatnot, right? So there's that way you can search for that by specific keywords, or if you trust us, we've done an AI indicator to where, let's say, you could just search things like probate, vacant, right? And again, probate, we just have it this way because you understand what that means. It just means that a person passed away here, but this is probably before it even gets to the probate court. So we're just giving you like a pre-probate lead potentially. And again, you can, let's say if you just want to search for that and you're, again, focusing on, say, single family properties, it's as simple as clicking search, pull that information. And again, obviously you can tap other distress factors or high grass, right, to get more records. But it's just as simple as doing this, right? And pulling the list, market, rinse and repeat, right? Again, on this one, this is the violation day. So if you logged in last week and you were logging in today, you probably do from 10 days ago to today, right? So that way you're only getting the most recent up-to-date records. So as you're logging into the platform, that's a good way of just ensuring that you're pulling new records, right? And when in doubt, you can look at this violation date. So that tells you that they were refreshed today. But anyways, I wanted to just make this quick video and sort of distinguishing what is it that we do and focusing on the niche data, as our customers are getting better deals because the data is already filtered down with motivators, right? So again, unless you have unlimited marketing budget to pull all absentee owners, then that's a different story, and obviously you can, good for you that you can spend all that money. Otherwise, this is what we offer. Again, as a quick reminder, we have a school community that's free. I'll include the description here so you can join if you're interested in it. And also, again, you can sign up for either platform, county, or code violations, right? Once you do sign up, right, our county data is still growing. So if you have a county or if you have a specific state or county that you're interested in us adding, just reach out. And also for our code violations, it's a lot more extensive, right, in state information or city information. But I'll leave it at that, and thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.